Hello lovelies, welcome to Narc Free Formula. My name's Freedom, thank you for watching. Alright, today's episode is about idealisation. And I want to clarify something at the get-go about idealisation. Because some people are getting it confused with love bombing. Now, love bombing is a part of the idealisation phase. However, they are two very separate and different things. So, I've got some notes here, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm doing. All right, lovelies. So, love bombing is an act or behaviour where the narcissist love bombs the target. So they will send copious text messages, phone calls, will act all romantic, might send gifts, bombing that person with love, showing lots of little gestures. Okay, so it's a behaviour. Whereas the idealisation is actually the first part of the three-part cycle. So, and during that stage is where the narc is infatuated with the potential. They're high as a kite on the brand new toy, the brand new thing, the shiny new thing. The new supply can do no wrong during this idealisation stage. Because they're being idolised by the narcissist, the narc thinks of them as being better than they actually are. So they've put them right up on this pedestal where that person can do no wrong. So because the narcissist is living in this false construct, it's just purely the way it all works. So when you are the new supply, the narcissist has to idealise you, has to put you above their current or former supply, primary supply. So they have to look at the new supply and imagine that she is more deserving, smarter, sexier, funnier, more interesting, more compatible to the narcissist than the former supply. However, obviously this is part of a process. This cycle and this process of idealisation is very separate to love bombing. Like I said, love bombing is part of it, but these two terms are not interchangeable. So you can't say that love bombing is the first stage of the three stages, because that's not actually correct. Idealisation is the first of the three stages of the narc cycle. All right, so as I said, the narcissist lives in a false construct, and so they've put the new supply in the starring role, essentially. And what they do with the idealisation is in their minds, they maximise the virtues and minimise the flaws of the new supply. So essentially they imagine her as being different than what she really is. And by objectifying the new supply just becomes kind of a thing that makes the narcissist's life better or different. And it sits in with their false construct, because you've got to remember their whole reality is false. It's an illusion, a delusion, an illusion that the narcissist is creating and controlling and constructing as they go along. So they can't imagine the new supply as being a normal human being. They have to imagine them as being superior and special and more, like I said, and more so than the former or current primary supply. Hang on, lost my notes. Okay, so there is a psychological term called the Michelangelo Effect, and this is fascinating because what happens with the narcissist is they idolize this individual. So they've targeted someone, they start to idolize them, and then what happens is the Michelangelo effect takes place. And what the Michelangelo effect is this, is when you treat someone as though they are so amazing, so smart, so funny, so sexy, guess what? They actually start to act that way towards you. Because on some maybe subconscious level, they enjoy the way they look through your eyes. They enjoy the experience of someone saying such positive things and holding them in such high regard. And you've got to remember, the narcissist always targets people that have a little bit of vulnerability. And they identify, they seek out your vulnerabilities in the beginning stages. So this is what they focus on. And they build up people's self-esteem, the target's self-esteem, or the new supplier's self-esteem. They build it up, and in turn, that person starts to act out the way the narcissist is imagining them. So they're creating this kind of illusion together. But as a long-term strategy, this kind of living this fantasy, it's untenable. No one can live up to those kind of high standards. And this is where the idealisation phase or cycle, the idealisation phase, the beginning stage of the Narc cycle, this is when it starts to turn into the devaluation stage. But I just wanted to clear that up about the love bombing. I think it's really important that we do not confuse the two terms. One is an act and one is the initial phase of the Narc cycle. So when you hear people using those two terms interchangeably, and it's not correct. I don't like to be like the grammar police, because, hey, I make up words all the time. I'm fascinating to myself. I actually amuse myself, endlessly amusing to myself about the kind of words that I make up. But when it comes to this kind of really important stuff, I think it's important that we actually focus on what these words, terms, phrases, whatever, what it actually means. And not just swap words because we don't understand and then educate other people incorrectly, essentially. Because, I'm hearing people who should know better referring to love bombing as the first stage of the Narc cycle. It's not, darlings. It's behaviour that will show up during the first stage, but it will also show up during the devaluation stage, funnily enough. You'll get this intermittent reinforcement where it's one, then it's the other. Devaluation, a little bit of love bombing. Anyhow, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching, and as always, if anyone wants a one-on-one consult, the link is in the description box, and please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. Thanks for watching, darlings. Bye.